o'clock. Let's call this meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible.
That's whatever team you're up for.
Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Foley?
Here.
Trustee Lappin?
Here.
Clerk Palovich here. Treasurer Ellery Summers? Here. Trustee Kroll?
Here. Here.
Trustee Dunkel?
One more time.
Trustee Dunkel?
Here.
Supervisor Skibby?
Here. Thank you all that are on either online, by telephone, for joining us this evening. Are there other members of the public or press that are by telephone this evening? If so, please state your name.
My name is Stephanie, and I'm with WBKB.
Good evening, Stephanie.
And that's by phone.
And that is by phone. Are there any other members of the press or public by telephone?
Reinhardt.
Good evening, Mr. Reinhardt. Good to have you. And Bruce, are you on by conference?
Conference, so have a good evening to all and a great meeting.
Well, you sound just as good on ours as you do on our radio.
Oh, that's because I'm doing this from my home studio, so I have everything.
Oh, well, hey, giddy up. Okay.
Hey,
Don't ask.
Nate, can you make the screen larger?
Do you want everything?
Yes, and more.
Because it'll make Steve larger too, right?
No, well, a little bit. It's not giving me the option. It's typically where it's at. I'll work on that as we go through, Steve.
It's not a big deal. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Am I supposed to read it?
Okay.
Okay.
So at this point in time, this is the point in time we have adoption of the agenda. Are there any corrections, additions, or subtractions to the agenda as presented?
I have a question.
Yes, Trustee Foley.
I didn't see it on there. Are we going to be talking about a workplace coordinator?
No, we are not, because we did not have all the final dots put in place with the return to work policy, which went hand in hand with that.
Okay.
So that will be addressed at our subsequent meeting. But any other questions, additions, subtractions, comments to the agenda as presented? Otherwise, I will entertain a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
So
moved.
We have a motion over the phone. Dunkel, do we have support?
I'll support. It's
It's been moved and supported. Dunkel and Poley?
Donkey's good.
Math.
Who was that?
Yes, Dunkel and Poley. Sorry, Matt. Any further?
We haven't known each other that long.
Sorry, Mr. Dunkel. I'll take the Matt back. Any other discussion? Seeing none or hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, the same. Motion passed. Agenda adopted. This is the first opportunity for public comment. Having no members of the public present this evening, are there any comments by telephone or by web? Hearing none, we will move forward to the payment of the bills. Payment of the bills was emailed, I believe, on the 20th, as well as a budget that I will be touching upon later in this agenda. Do we have a motion to make payment of the bills?
So moved.
We have a motion by Lappin. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Kroll. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Roll call vote, please.
Clerk Palovich, yes. Treasurer Ellery Summers.
Yes.
Trustee Kroll,
Yes.
Trustee Dunkel,
Yes.
Trustee Polly,
Yes.
Trustee Lappin,
Yes.
Supervisor Skibby.
Yes. Moving forward to the minutes of April 27th, 2020. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of April 27th, 2020?
Motion to approve March 23rd minutes and March of the regular, of the budget hearing or the regular hearing?
No, Steve, you're looking at the wrong agenda. An updated agenda went out.
Yeah, we just had 2 pages.
No, April 27th minutes.
Yeah.
It's the April 27th minutes.
Oh, geez. Huh.
A corrected agenda went out like very quickly.
Yeah, it was only 2 pages long.
Yep. You were supposed to throw the first one away.
I did. All right. I guess I could pull back my motion then.
So would you like to make your own friendly amendment to the motion to approve the minutes of April 27th, 2020?
I'm not looking at them, so, I don't have them. I wonder, just hold on.
It was in the packet, was the April 27th.
That's odd. I have all the other right stuff. I don't have that.
Didn't have mine either.
Okay, I'll make the motion that we move it to 27th agenda.
I appreciate the motion, Trustee Dunkel. Is there support?
I'll support.
It's been moved and supported. Any further discussion besides clarification? If not, all those in favor of approving the minutes signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Opposed, the same. Hearing no opposition, minutes have been approved. This is the correspondence, of which at this time there were no correspondence to be noted. Moving forward to the only item of old business, which is the adoption of the new zoning ordinance, at which point in time I will pass the mic over to Tim Golden, Township Attorney.
You'll be able to hear me okay from over here?
Can everybody online hear Tim?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, we're at the stage, your previous meeting, you introduced the new zoning ordinance, which is number 142. That's a necessary step for charter townships. And so now we're at the stage where your planning commission has recommended adoption of this ordinance.
That is correct.
You as a township board have introduced it. And now you're at the stage where you as a township board will consider adopting the ordinance through a motion. And the law allows you to adopt it as recommended by the planning commission with or without any amendments. So if there was a change that somebody thought was necessary and if you got the majority of the board to agree with it, possible to do that. Most times not done unless there's some reason to disagree with the planning commission as recommended. This is an ordinance by Denise Klein from NEMCOG. I've got quite a few other northern Michigan municipalities that have used her in her organization, and they're really happy with their new zoning ordinance. There are substantial areas that need, for all municipalities, for their zoning to be updated. For example, the sign provisions, those were really ruled unconstitutional by the United States Supreme Court, and 5G, and solar, wind, lots of current topics. So I'm really happy that you've gone through this. It's definitely a worthwhile investment. Again, we're at the stage where a board member can move to adopt it. And then after that occurs, then I'm going to have one more thing to say about publishing the notice of adoption.
I'll make that motion to adopt our new ordinance.
We have a motion on the table to move forward with the adoption of the new zoning ordinance,
Number 1.
4-2.
I'll support.
It's been moved and supported. Any further discussion? I have a point of discussion. For point of clarification, Attorney Golden, it is per the emails that went back and forth even as today with Denise in terms of clarification. The motion that is on the table to adopt is without the amendments that were already offered by Denise in terms of points of clarification from our building official in terms of setbacks, or is that already in the zoning ordinance?
Were those added, those amendments? Did Denise add those?
It sounded like she did,
Okay.
but that was late. I don't know if that happened during the planning commission stages.
Then I request, and that's correct. I don't think it did happen during the planning commission. But Norm, I would ask that you revise your motion to adopt ordinance 142 with the amendments suggested by Denise Klein.
I'll do that.
We have a friendly amendment to the author of the motion, Trustee Polly. Do we have a friendly support by Ellery Summers?
Yes.
Continued discussion by remaining trustees? Yes, Norm.
I'd just like to say this is one fine document that's been needed for a long time, updating our complete ordinance. And it was done by a group of people that were experts, knew their stuff. And I think we got a document that is superior.
Wonderful.
I would concur with that statement, Trustee Polly. Any other discussion by Seeing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Kroll,
Yes.
Trustee Dunkel,
Yes.
Trustee Polly,
Yes.
Trustee Lappin,
Yes.
Clerk Palovich, yes. Treasurer Ellery Summers.
Yes.
Supervisor Skibby.
Yes.
Your planning commission did an excellent. They put a lot of work into this, so that was a lot of effort. I was impressed. Today's email made from Denise concerned the publishing the notice of adoption. Gave it to me in a Word document. I could fill in that. I'll take the publication. There was the one for the individual parcels. We've got parcel ID numbers.
Yeah.
She was asking us to fill in any addresses that correspond to those. So I will need some help.
Okay, and I will get you in touch with Chris Lewis. That would be able
Oh,
to,
I can give you,
yeah, either Chris or Laura. We can extrapolate parcels.
yeah, I can give you personal.
So Laura stepped up to the plate. Thank you very much.
Good. Thanks, Laura.
Yeah. Anything else, Attorney Golden?
Nope, that will do it. Thank you.
I have one more comment.
Yes.
I'd like to say it was a pleasure being on the planning commission committee working on this because everybody felt they were getting something really accomplished that we needed.
Good job.
Thank you very much for those comments. Thanks. We'll have to give our thanks to all the members of the Planning Commission from Chair Hilberg on down. They did. I attended quite a few of those meetings, and it was a wonderful exercise, and it was a tremendous leap forward for our community and this municipality. At this point in time, Attorney Golden, if you, I think that concludes the business, unless you had anything else that really struck you on the agenda.
Nope, that's fine.
Okay.
And Laura, I will email you
That'd be
that
good.
notice, so you'll see what the ID numbers.
Yeah.
She thought some of them might not have addresses, if that's the case. That's fine.
Okay.
Good, thank you.
Thank you very much, Tim.
And you want the address of the property, not the mailing address, the address of the actual property.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
Thank you.
Yep.
That's all. Thank you, everybody.
Yep. Thank you very much, Tim. Coming back. Okay, have a wonderful evening, Tim.
Well, we good.
Moving forward to new business. First item of new business is policy and procedure manual update, which lowers the spending limit to $500, which excludes both the DPW department and public safety department. Before we get to this, I am going to expound upon this item of new business with an exercise that all trustees and all department heads will be getting either this evening or first thing in the morning, which will be for our next meeting, which is scheduled currently for June 14th, to be bringing back our general budget report, revenues and expenditures, which is in Laura's attachment from the 20th of this month. If you want an even more up-to-date hard copy that adds another 6 days of revenues and expenditures, we can produce that for you as well. But the exercise is to look at this, yes.
You said June 14th? How about June 9th?
June 9th, I do apologize. So June 9th is our next meeting. It's the second Tuesday, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So for June 9th is to look at this budget and outside of the only fund that is not tax-based, which is the DPW, to look at it and find $300,000 that we can cut from our budget.
Are you explaining why? Because-
I'm going to.
Okay.
So the reason that this is such a steep cliff of an exercise is that from Senator Stamets' office and Sue Eller's office of the 106, our anticipated city, village, township revenue sharing funds are anticipated to be cut by anywhere from 40 to 60%. On average, this last 3.5+ years of this term, we have averaged right around $550,000 in revenue sharing from the state. So that puts us right at around $275,000. And I think to be on the safe side, we need to start acting, and this goes back to line item number 1 of new business, of reducing expenditures for strictly day-to-day operations and operate under the guise that we are in a deficit budget starting now. So email me individually if you would like yet another copy of the budget for this exercise, but I will be, and we will all be sitting down as if it were a budget hearing at our next meeting to discuss relevant and satisfactory means to reduce our budget by $300,000. But that concludes my spiel and introduction of a very big exercise for this board, given these times. But this coincides with line item number 1 for policy and procedure manual update. In our policy and procedure manual update, we gave and afforded every department head a bottom line of $1,500 before they had to have board approval. At this point in time, it would behoove us as a board to reduce that spending limit to $500. As I aforementioned, with excluding both the fire department and DPW. All department heads have already previously been warned of operating under the guise of near a spending freeze. So this isn't coming out of left field. This is an exercise that we have to do our due diligence and make sure that we as a municipality are working in the people's best interest. And that being said, I would entertain a motion to move forward and make an amendment to the policy manual to lower the spending limit to all department heads excluding DPW and public safety to $500.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion on the table from trustee Polly. Is there support?
I'll support that.
It's been supported by clerk Palovich. Further discussion? Anybody online or on my telephone has any further discussion?
Question for you, this is Steve. Do we have any idea how long the tax revenue cut will last?
Safe estimates, the state is announcing that they're looking at a 2-year, $6.3 billion tax shortfall at the state level, which from Rep. Aller's office, that would correspond and trickle down to the city, village, township revenue sharing program of upwards of 4 to 6 years.
Oh, my goodness.
So,
All right, next question then. Please explain why we would exclude two of the biggest expenditure departments.
okay, so in terms of exclusion of this motion, one, DPW is not tax-based, so that's an easy one. Here's another easy one. There is very little in the fire department realm that doesn't cost $1,500. And if we had to hold up business and operations of day-to-day operations for everything that costs over $500 for the fire department, we'd be calling special meetings
Constantly.
every other day.
Okay, thank you.
No worries.
I mean, that doesn't mean most are at like 550, 600, the fire department invoices. They're not 1,500 usually,
Yeah.
Steve, but
I mean,
they're well over the 500 limit.
yeah, but the exercise goes beyond just the reduction. The exercise is that we need to live within our means. And right now we have to readjust our budget and look at it with realistic vision of our means are $375,000 to $300,000 less than what we anticipated. Trustee Foley.
We still have that emergency gap that if emergency does come up, you have the right to proceed for
Yes.
taken care of.
Yes, there are means that emergencies in the policy and procedure manual that afford department head can seek acknowledgement and the green light from me. That has worked very well up till now, and I think it will continue to work. But the clarification for your questions are that DPW is not tax-based, and we would actually spend more in calling special meetings than it would be a cost savings to reduce the fire department down to $500. We have a motion to support. Any further discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Dunkel,
Yes.
trustee Polly,
Yes.
trustee Lappin,
Yes?
clerk Palovich, yes. Treasurer Ellery Summers.
Yes.
Trustee Kroll,
Yeah.
supervisor Skibby.
Yes. Sorry, moving forward with new business item number 2. That is the 2020 maintenance agreement with the Alpena County Equalization Department. Laura, would you like to discuss this?
I received the maintenance agreement from County Equalization along with parcel count and then the tax roll preparation information. This is something that Alpena County has done for us for many, many years. I did get a little more in depth of a detail of what they actually provide for us, which is outlined in the newsletter, my memo that I have. I don't know if anybody has any questions about it. I mean, I just kind of try to give everybody information.
Do any trustees have any questions for Treasurer Ellery Summers as to her packet?
Yeah, this is just something we normally do every year anyway.
It is. I just provided more information to the board, just so you don't think they just print stuff and fold our, our tax
Yeah.
bills, because there's a lot more to it than that.
Yeah, and a lot of this actually corresponds to what has to happen by state law in the assessing department as well, so.
Right, yep. So anyway, and the amount, there's 6,789 real properties and 439 personal properties, which is a total of 7,228 parcels at $1.85 a parcel. This is for both summer and winter. So, and I did originally have in the recommended motion for me to sign it, but I think the supervisor should sign this, the agreement, so.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the maintenance agreement with Alpena County Equalization Department?
So moved.
Oh,
Do you want it, the whole thing read, or you just want it?
I mean, you have it laid out.
Yeah,
Then you can,
okay, that's fine.
So
we have a motion on the table. Do we have support?
I'll support.
It's been moved and supported. Any further discussion?
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, last year, at least last year, we went through this exercise to decide whether or not that $1.85 per parcel was a good value. And as I recall, it was a significantly good value.
Yeah, between time and energies and then what the services that the county does provide, it would definitely accelerate and expedite this entire process to continue with our partnership with the County Equalization Department.
Okay, I would guess that given what you've just told us about the revenue sharing, that this next year may be a little different. We'll have to wait and see, I guess.
Time will tell on that, Trustee Lappin. Any further discussion? Roll call, vote, please.
Trustee Polly?
Yes.
Trustee Lappin?
Yes,
Clerk Palovich, yes. Treasurer Ellery Summers?
Yes.
Trustee Kroll?
Yes.
Trustee Dunkel?
One more time.
Trustee Dunkel?
Must be sleeping.
Yes.
Supervisor Skibby?
Yes. Motion passed. Moving forward to the newsletter. Laura, would you like to continue?
Yep, so every year we've talked, we've kind of always discussed possibly doing a newsletter. Well, this year I prepared a newsletter, two-sided, nice, colorful newsletter with a lot of good information in it. I did get some prices on if we copied them ourselves here on our Arconica copier. That would be, actually, if we did 7,000 copies at times 2, they would charge us for, they charge us 5 cents a copy. It'd be $714 to do it in color on 2 sides. I did get a price from Miller as well, and because of the kind of paper that it would have to be printed on, and because it's colored ink, Miller took over several different samples of paper to the county to put through their holding machine, and it ended up they even needed a smaller numbered bond, and for them, now the price went for them like a little over $700 to over $1,100.
For who?
Miller.
Oh.
So with that compared to what we would do, it would be cheaper for us to print them on our copier. I did get another price from Allegra, which would be about 13 cents a copy, which is $893.80. Initially, I did hear back from recycling. Stan initially from Alpena Resource Recovery talked about putting in a flyer for just an educational flyer for recycling. If they did that, they would have paid half for the printing. They are not going to do that now. So basically all the costs would fall on us. And I guess that's just,
So we would do it on our printer?
that would be the cheapest, and that would be at 10 cents a copy, or Allegra could do it for 800 and
How long would it tie up our copier to
For a
print
long time.
7,000?
it'd be a long time.
Plus,
I mean, is our copier,
No,
Plus.
plus
Yeah.
paper, the toner is included if we did it here. That's included in the 5 cents a copy, the toner is. Now, go ahead.
at this time, where we're at and with the budget issues that we are going to proceed forward with, I think this might be a good time to not table this, but put it on the back burner until a further date when we get our funds back in shape.
I mean, honestly, Norm, I tend to agree with you because, you know, I don't know what the winter bills are like, but that's another opportunity for us to do this.
Sure.
But I do totally agree.
I might have one other suggestion. We have a website and we have a Facebook page.
No, we do not have a Facebook page.
Oh, well,
We could
we
put,
have a website. Perhaps we could just put something like this on a website.
I think that's a great idea.
I do too.
I think, well, at this point in time, I would entertain a motion to table this business and within that motion to add this file, 2-page insert to our website.
If you table
So
it,
moved.
it should be taken up at the next meeting, but if we, I don't know what you would
I
call
think
the
we should
term.
just revisit
make a
it.
motion to
In
put it on the
November.
website and revisit
Okay.
inserting it in
So-
December.
Trustee Dunkel,
Not December.
Yeah.
would you like to
That
make,
table is fine.
what was that, sir?
Yeah, tabling it is fine. That's a good idea. I like the idea of putting it online, and so that's fine.
Not tabling.
Yeah, but I'm asking you if you'd like to make a friendly amendment to your motion and not to table it, to basically cancel this line of business and move forward with putting it on our website.
And well.
Yes, that's fine.
Otherwise,
Yep,
if we did-
that
if
sounds
we
like a
did-
good idea.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. So we have a motion. Do we have support?
I'll support.
It's been moved and supported. We can get that file over to,
Are we going to take a roll call?
yeah, but we have this discussion.
Oh,
So we have a motion and support.
oh, I thought you were.
We don't, no. So we can get that, get onto our website easy enough. And then we can always explore it when we get closer to the winter.
I just have
taxes.
one little tweak to finish on
Okay.
that Chris made, so I'll tweak that and send it.
Okay. All those in favor of canceling this line item of business and moving forward with implementation of our website, signify by saying aye.
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 Bye.
Opposed, the same. Motion passed. Newsletter is, will be on our website. Moving forward to the next item of new business, which is Clerk Palovich. Would you like to take point?
I don't even know what we're talking about.
The election workers security screen quote that you had provided us?
One's up there. I know, I hate to ask to spend money, but it is a requirement that we protect all our election workers, the August election, I'm sure November. And this is a good price on screens. I could not actually even find anybody else who could make them. And they said our price was great. I talked to Frank Scanlon, and they could not even make them. And what's nice about them is they fold right off for easy storage. So I guess I'm asking that we approve. They're $155 a piece plus $30 shipping per screen. We have 5 precincts. We need 1 for each precinct.
For a grand total of $925.
At the most, they might be able to ship it at a little bit less if we ship all 5 together, which they'll try to do.
At this,
Are these portable enough that they will they,
Think
if we have
about
to,
a screen that rolls up.
There's a picture in your packet.
yeah.
oh, there is?
It should have a picture in it. It's hard to tell. It's heavy,
that's right.
it's heavy clear vinyl
Yeah,
is what, and then that allows it, affords, it's a aluminum tubing that's welded. Actually, when she sent it to me, I was not anticipating a total cost of $925. I was anticipating per unit. Just the aluminum welding and the frame construction itself I was amazed that this was the cost, to be honest. But
so
yeah,
this is sort of like a clear shower curtain, basically.
Yes,
You're right, but
heavy gauge.
you pull it down like a shade and then it rolls back up like a shade.
Oh, okay, so when it stores away protected as well.
Correct.
Oh, yeah, okay, great.
I mean, we'll be able to reuse them over and over and over again.
I'd entertain a motion to move forward with the purchase of 5 of these protective screens for our election workers at a total cost of potentially $925 and or less, to be spent out of line item 101-191-90-980-000. Is there a motion to that effect?
I'll make that motion to exactly what you said.
I have a
I'll
motion.
support it.
It's been moved by Lappin, supported by Dunkel. Any further discussion?
I had a question. Oh, is this something that we can, you know how the state reimburses us for certain things?
At this time, they are not reimbursing us
Okay.
for any stuff like this.
Yeah.
They may, and then I will,
You know how sometimes they do that?
Yeah,
So,
well,
okay.
which is going to lead to another item of business where we may be able to find some funds.
I'm hoping they
So-
reimburse us.
So at that point, with no other discussion, roll call vote, please.
Clerk Palovich, yes. Treasurer Ellery Summers.
Yes.
Trustee Kroll,
Yes.
Trustee Dunkel,
Yes.
Trustee Polly,
Yes.
Trustee Lappin,
Yes,
Supervisor Skibby.
Yes. Moving forward in new business, this is actually 2 emails that Michelle had printed out that break out materials and costs. And that would be, let's see here. I can't, did you do the quick math of both of them together?
Are you looking at me?
Yeah.
No, I did not.
So we have
I can though.
a quote from Meridian Construction to construct a bulletproof wall that is in the front entryway to the treasurer's office, where tax bills and water bills are paid in person when possible. This wall also contains 2 bulletproof glass windows, service windows, 6 feet apart, and it is steel stud construction covered with Kevlar fiberglass layer below the Durarock layer. So it is a Category 1 bulletproof wall. And has a security door with a keypad for access to keep our staff safe, to meet COVID standards in terms of social distancing, whereas with the election equipment, if any state funds are available, we'll meet the state standards, and we can add some of this to that overall bill if we can get refunded for some of the costs. This has been a concern of mine, and I think just about everybody that works in this building, especially during tax season, to have no security up front for staff when there's a potential for large cash exchanges. Meridian Construction, the only reason that there's only one quote in here, is the only one in a very localized area that does this kind of work. They are currently doing the exact same work for the city. And if we had the staff, we could follow suit like the county did and purchase materials from them and then institute it with our own staff who put up their walls throughout their buildings. But unfortunately, we do not have the staffing available for that. The total cost of the wall would be with an ADA compliant, on the customer side, an ADA compliant shelf to meet ADA standards. And like I said, 2 service windows is $13,898.56. Which seems like an astronomical amount when I just laid out the game plan of cutting $300,000. But this is and has been a grave concern for all of our staff in security reasons. We're now forced to make changes, and at this point in time, I'd rather move forward with doing it once and doing it the right way than putting and hanging a sheet of plexiglass to meet COVID standards. Are there any questions about this quote?
I have a question.
Yes, Steve.
So we have a customer comes in through the front door and walks up to that long counter. That's the area that we're endeavoring to protect, right?
That is correct, sir.
All right, so are we going to keep that side door locked then?
Into the assessing?
Which door?
Well, how are you going to, that is one access point. How are you going to protect multiple access points?
The door that is in between the assessing office and the front treasurer's office is always locked now. That has changed. So that is locked. So there is one funnel point, which would be the front. We cannot shut down the side main access because it is one of 2 ADA compliant ramped entry points to the building. But all transactions take place through the primary front entry point, even if they do come through the side.
All right, how are we protecting those windows out front and on the sides?
Cash? This is where you need to explain, because that was my question.
Yeah.
And Laura had the same question too.
There's no perfect scenario, Steve.
No, I understand. I'm being the devil's advocate. I think it's a good idea, don't get me wrong. But if we're going to institute some level of risk management, then we need to look at the totality of it. If there's an access point, if you can't get through the traditional way, and most thieves don't go through the traditional way, they're going to find another way to do it. And I don't know how often we have large sums of cash, and I don't know how often we make deposits, and there's only one way to get to the bank.
Well, there's more than one.
Well, I can offer some insight on those windows as well.
Yes, please.
So, something that we did here at the jail is that window tint company that is next to Alpena Trim, they had put some stuff on our windows here. I don't believe they're bulletproof, but they're pretty close. I mean, it was fairly cheap for them to do it here. I think we could get a quote for them. You can't even tell that they put that stuff on there, but it will keep the window intact. Like they were showing that people were trying to smash the window with hammers and all kinds of stuff, and literally would take several minutes to break through a window. So that might be an option, because it would be too expensive to put a bulletproof window in there, and they may have something that is pretty close. So that may be an option to look at for the windows.
Well, I think that's a reasonable thing to look at.
It is. We have a question on the table, Trustee Polly.
I believe, Cash, maybe you can back this up, but the type of thing that's going to happen here, they're going to come and they're going to want cash. They aren't going to stand by the window and say, I need your cash. I think it's going to be something that they're going to come in and want to come right into the front door. If they can't get in the front door or get in through that way, I don't think we have that much of a concern, but I believe the idea of getting a price on this film is worth an extra few bucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think based on the proximity and the situation we're in, you're looking more at buying time until response can get there. So if you can buy even 30 seconds of time, you're fairly close to the sheriff's office, to the state police. They can be there a lot quicker than anywhere else.
Yeah.
So
Do we have a panic button there?
No, we do not currently.
Okay.
Also something that we can look at. This is we're looking at three weeks out on the potential construction of a wall if we move forward. Trustee Bowie.
One other question. It says here that it's a hollow metal door and frame. Is that anything or something that somebody could just walk in and kick it in?
No, this is still,
Okay.
yeah, no. This would be like our new steel, like our old steel doors, but newer? No.
Fine, okay. Just-
And Cash, to add to that, that's Harborside Tent is the business, and the owner is Corey Code, and I've already reached out to him, and he will be trying to get over here yet this week. Yep. He's the company that did our logo behind the board table. So he also does.
Yeah, and he also did an excellent job of making the windows so, like in our control center, so you can't see in, but you can see out. He also has that he can put on there. It's phenomenal what they've done. They can even tint it so you're not getting all that sunlight as well. So he's got lots of options. I know that.
Yeah. Any other discussion?
I would suggest this would be a great one to write a grant to your insurance carrier.
Great idea.
Okay, well, then start writing, sir.
Laura, it's better that I probably not do that, but Laura, if you would like to call me, I'd be happy to help you write that grant.
Okay, sounds great. Unless you want to do it. I mean, do you want,
We can both.
Nathan and I and you can work together.
Yeah, we can get it going.
It won't be difficult, but I think this is an excellent opportunity to find up to $5,000.
That would be huge.
Well, in the meantime, should we still move forward with business and then write the grants up in the same breath?
May as well.
Okay. Well, then I would entertain a motion to move forward with a potential expenditure of up to, let's just make it an even number, of $14,000 for the wall. And at the same time, Laura and myself will be writing a grant for upwards of, it sounds like $5,000 from the power plant. Trustee Polling?
I'd like to see that go to 15 grand, just for the fact that there is some question marks there. Up to, that doesn't mean we have to spend 15 grand, but I think this gives a little bit of leverage.
Okay, well, would you like to make the motion?
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion on the table of expending up to $15,000 for the construction of a level 1 bullet resistant wall and concurrent grant writing process through our insurance. Is there support?
I'll support that, even though I only got a $200 piece of plexiglass. I'm just giving you credit. I'll support it.
Well, when you're wearing a mask, it's really hard to tell nonverbal cues about the mask. Steve even felt that one. A roll call vote, please.
Treasurer Ellery Summers.
Yes.
Trustee Kroll.
Yeah.
Trustee Dunkel.
Yes.
Trustee Polly.
Yes.
Trustee Lappin.
Yes.
Clerk Palovich, yes. Supervisor Skibby.
Yes. And I will be in touch with you, Steve, as to moving forward with the grant process.
Thank you.
And I'll also probably be bringing back to our next agenda the film from Harborside Tent with a quote. Moving forward, new item of business 6. Chief, you might as well take the table. That way I can swing it around and get you. The next 3 items are from the fire department. And I'll be moving the camera. Okay. Floor is yours, Chief.
Okay, which one did you have on the agenda first?
We have the SCBA quote.
Okay. I do want to make a caveat here prior to the suggestion. There is a timeline associated with the bid I'm going to request. And say, having learned my lesson back last year with the ambulance purchase, I want you guys to understand this is in no way an ultimatum or we have to have it. It was an offer that was made to us through the dealer, and we can either take it or leave it set on the table depending on the board's wishes. But in short, it is a quote from Apollo for 6 new MSA G1 SCBAs.
What is that?
The
Self-contained breathing
apparatus, our air packs.
Okay.
It was approximately 4 or 5 years ago. We purchased 6. We would like to purchase 6 more. That would give us a total of 12 identical new SCBAs. The difference being between the ones we already have in these are there were some new guidelines set forth by National Fire Protection Association for SCBAs that they call the 2018 standards. These will meet those. And if you notice on there, there are 2 of the air packs that have addition of a built-in thermal imaging camera. And what that would do is give any 2 of our first in, we do this assigned fire attacks by team. The 2 lead members that would be leading the team into an interior attack would actually have the thermal camera built into the harness. That would give them a good idea. That way they're not dragging hose, tool, and thermal camera when they go in to make the interior attack. Now where this came from, that's also with 12 bottles, which would give us 2 bottles for each pack. I had instructed one of the lieutenants just to give me an idea of what these things were going to cost going down the road. And what the dealer, by the way, MSAs are single source out of Michigan now. That's why there's not 3 bids. I should say there's 2 or 3 dealers, but those dealers get them all from this source. So they would only be marked up. As I was saying, that would be for 6 packs, 12 bottles. And what the dealer had offered is that there are 2 departments, Lewiston Fire Department and a neighboring fire department, that have a purchase on the table right now. And he said if we were able to make a decision soon on this, he would, because he'd be providing them in bulk, we'd get about an 8%. I know that would not be on there, but the savings we'd see on this package deal would represent about 8% total price, which I'm guessing somewhere between $3,500 and $4,000. And that's why I chose to bring it tonight rather than wait till after like tax collection and so forth. Because I am proposing this. My head's kind of spinning a little right now after what the supervisor said about the budget cuts, because that, 46 is a lot of money. However, the clerk and I were speaking there. Are you going to back me up on this?
I will back you up on this.
When she was informing me that the second ambulance had already been paid off, and that there was the remainder or additional $75,000 left in that equipment fund for this year, and would still allow us to purchase the engine in the future. I was hoping to get, I'm hoping that would be my proposal, is to take this 46,629 out of that line item 205-336-970-000, which is the, I believe, the truck equipment purchase fund, which is based off of the millage.
It's the equipment millage purchases line item.
Correct. and I'll entertain any questions you guys have, if I can explain further. Norm?
I have a question that this is an equipment millage. Does equipment cover these kind of things? I thought it was like for something with wheels, a truck or a fire truck or,
No, it covers SCBA's.
are we sure?
Well, wouldn't it cover any equipment that they needed?
Yeah, no, the village language covered hose vehicles. I know we're thinking because
Yeah.
we always, unfortunately, are forced to look at the elephants that are always in the room because we haven't
I'm
tried to judge. No,
Sure it is.
no, it is covered by that millage.
And if I can expound on that a little bit more, part of our ideology would have been when we get ready to purchase the truck, would hope that the dealer could have thrown the purchase of some SCBA's in with it. Like I say, the reason I'm bringing this quickly is because it was a little bit of cost savings that the dealer offered us with the bulk buying with the other departments. Go ahead.
How soon, is there, like, these have an expiration date or something, or how soon does it have to be done, or when's our expiration date?
Oh, well, he would want to answer by.
No, on these parts we're buying, the stuff we're buying.
The air packs?
Yeah, do they expire?
The air packs themselves are good until they fail an annual test. The bottles have a shelf life of 10 years.
And so we've been subsequently the last was, we picked up some Scott packs that were used.
We picked up the Scott 2.2s from Paw Paw Fire last year, if you guys recall, $500 to be a stopgap between what we had lost through attrition and until we could afford to purchase some more of our SCBA's.
So yes, in terms of NFPA, just about everything in the fire service by NFPA standards has a shelf life. This is just a smaller scale of a vehicle, things that unfortunately we haven't funded and looked down the road with a strategic plan that the fire committee is trying to get in line with the fire department. So yes, Laura.
I'm just asking because you just said, like, we bought 6 of them between 4 and 6 years ago.
Correct.
So this would be buying 6 more.
Right.
So do we need 12? If we have 6, do we have 6 plus some older ones that are, I mean, I'm just wondering, do we need 12?
The way I would plan to do this is right now, what we consider to be the new SCBA's are on engine 2, which we consider, to us, that's the new engine. And then the Scott packs that are in the best shape of the lot we have are then on engine 1, which is the engine we're looking at replacing, hopefully. So what this would do is give us 12 identical model. The guys have already been trained on them, so we wouldn't need to have them come down and retrain on a different type. That would give us a minimum of 12 what we would consider new or newer model SCBA's. And then we could move those ones that we consider the best out of the lot we had and that we bought from Paw Paw would go on 3, which is the reserve truck, which nominally only gets used when we pull one of the first 2 out of service. And the way we're running right now is the way things have downturned and the numbers we've lost in the last year. If I can get 12 people on the fire ground right now packed up, I'm really happy. But to answer your question, I would really like to get like 18, but that would put us over.
Well, I just wondered, I mean,
Yeah, I'd like to get 12, which would give us 18 identical new ones, but that would put us over budget. So that's why I went with 6.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Trustee Lappin.
Perhaps you can help me understand, and perhaps the others, the scuba or the SCBA that has the thermal imaging camera somehow built into it. I'm puzzled as to how you would view that. help me understand, I'm visualizing one that you hold in your hand, a camera, and you point it, and there's a small screen that you can see what's going on behind the wall. How would I see what's happening behind the wall?
That's actually a good question. They would have to manipulate it prior, but they're on, if you have seen our SCBA's, you'll see on one shoulder is a combination pass alarm, which is the motion sensor that lets us know when a firefighter stops moving and alarms. Also has integrated, these days, heads-up display, which goes to our mast. There's some little indicator lights just inside our mast that let you know where your air status is at without having to physically look down. The back, and then there's a pressure gauge on there. Also a communications speaker that amplifies your voice from the mast through that so that people can better understand you on the radio. And as well as technology is a wonderful thing. But there is a high definition, it's about a little 4-inch by 2-inch screen that is built into that. So that as the firefighter enters the house, if there's an area he wants to survey, it's a matter of just tipping that down and looking at it.
And do we have a thermal imaging camera now?
We do. We have 2 of the larger handheld ones on on engine 1 and engine 2, which traditionally are what we give to the first hose team going in and or the incident commander. So we have at least 2 views of what's going on. This would give us a little added extra protection.
Is it added protection at about $1,600? Is it worth the investment?
Oh, most definitely.
Okay, thank you.
I personally, I know a lot of people, I'm not trying to soapbox this, but I do realize there are a lot of people that have never been in that environment of having been or be in a totally involved house fire or structure fire. And given the opportunity to go in blind on my hands and knees or go in with a thermal camera so I can see exactly what's going on, it's kind of hard now not to go into a fire with a thermal camera.
Yeah, listen, better you than me.
Yeah, they're I don't want to say
Sensitivity.
yeah, depending on where you put the work of your guy. Me, a thermal camera is one of those indispensable tools we can use because they can be used for not only locating victims and pockets of fire, but it helps us during salvage and overhaul and actually finding the seat of the fire so we know exactly where to attack it.
Yeah, I understand the benefit of it. I don't have a problem with that at all. It seems like with technology going at such an incredible speed that you could almost download an app on your phone nowadays for that. Kidding, of course, but still.
No, actually, you're not too far off, Mr. Lappin. I do understand that there are apps being put out on the market where you can buy an app and slide it onto your iPhone and make it into a thermal camera. Our problem is that in the fire service, the temperatures that we're introduced to going into a structure fire would overpower the phone in just a matter of seconds.
Yeah, I can appreciate that.
Yeah, so.
Yeah.
All right, well, anyway, thank you.
Any further questions for the chief? I mean, this is utilization of funds that are overage from the ambulance in the equipment
I mean,
millage.
I guess I have a question too, because that would leave about 20,000 left in there, which doesn't really buy you an engine. You know what I mean? So was there an intent of what to use the remainder of that millage money for? Is this what the intention of it was? You know what I mean, of what we've collected for the millage money after we paid for both ambulances.
Well, I think what the intent was in the original design, and correct me, good, bad, or indifferent, was 2 Bravo units and an engine.
Correct.
So you got the 2 Bravo units and then.
My understanding, and you guys probably know better than me, I found out from Michelle, both of the Bravo units are paid in full now.
Yes,
So the remainder of, we have 3 years.
this would be the second year's tax.
Yeah, to collect, on the equipment and what's paid for the engine. Yeah, believe me, if buying these packs would jeopardize the purchase of the engine, I would not bring it.
Well, that's what I just that was my question, so.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the overarching thing, the unfortunate reality, and that's why this board moved forward with putting forward a millage to have the public give support, because everything in the fire service has a shelf life, good, bad, or indifferent, including hoses. I mean, everything that you can possibly think of is only good for a period of time. Even firemen. We're all, trustees included. Hey, we all have shelf lives. Are there any other questions that are online, Chief?
One more quick one.
I'm sure it is, Steve.
You had said that if we act fast enough, you might be able to get an additional roughly 8% discount. Is that an 8% discount off the 46.6, or is that included in your number?
Oh, that's included in the number. The 46,629 is with the 8% discount assumed.
Okay.
Okay, for motion.
If there's no other questions for the chief, we could move forward with concluding this item.
I have a question.
Yes,
Dunkel here.
Donkey.
What if, we're looking for $300,000 and we can't find the $300,000 and we default on a payment? What happens then?
Default on payment.
Could you please give clarification to your question, Trustee Dunkel? Default on what kind of a payment?
Well, this vehicle is expensive, right?
To add clarification to this, your quandary, Trustee Dunkel, this is an utilization of millage money. This isn't part of general fund collected tax dollars for day-to-day operations. This
Can only be spent on.
is millage, equipment millage funds, period. So in regards to this, we wouldn't default because the money has been collected. The reason that we have the surplus that we have is because we were very proactive in paying off Bravo units 1 and 2, which minimized interest costs, henceforth the remaining balance.
Okay. All right. Gotcha. Thank you.
No worries.
To also add to that, according to my revenue and expenditure report, there's $75,739 left in that line.
Correct.
So from the collection of the millage funds. So this would take out the 46,629, which would leave approximately 20,000 left in there.
About 30.
Yeah.
30.
Yeah, these are earmarked funds that have been collected, so they need to be spent. Yep, gotcha. Thanks.
Yep.
Can I make the motion?
So we could, what I'm saying is there will be like almost 30,000 left in that account that we could leave sitting there
Yeah.
till we decide to buy an engine. It does not have to be spent.
It doesn't have to be spent this year. Those are tax collected millage funds that went through the equipment .65 sunset millage. That the grand purpose of these funds were for the larger items. The 2 ambulances that have already been bought and paid for, and we're now going to be looking, I don't want to ruin the surprise to the new X items of new business, But one of the final pieces is going to be on the agenda in 2 items of business away. So we have $70,000 remaining, as I aforementioned, because of a very proactive payment schedule. So it's not that we have to spend every last cent before we go into next fiscal's tax collection. This can sit in that line item until more tax monies are collected. Or if other equipment is needed because of a time stamp, then those are where those funds would come, as long as it's equipment. So any other discussion? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion to purchase the SCBA equipment for the fire department in the amount of $46,629 out of the leftover equipment millage.
Could be.
Funds 205-336-970-000.
I'll support that.
We have a motion and support on the table. Any further discussion? Hearing none, seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Kroll,
Yes.
Trustee Dunkel,
Yes.
Trustee Polly,
Yes.
Trustee Lappin,
Yes.
Clerk Palovich, yes. Treasurer Ellery Summers,
Yes.
Supervisor Skibby.
Yes. Chief, continue.
Can I say one more thing?
Yes, Trustee Foley.
Chief, whenever you come up with something like this again, all this fire department jargon or whatever, this, SCBA, I don't know what the hell it is. And anybody else looking at it, maybe put in parentheses what it is or something,
They'll put a memo with it.
or something to
It is.
help guide us, and we're looking, we don't know what it is.
Right.
And one thing that we did learn as a board, that this board is very visually oriented,
Yes.
as we noticed with the power cots. So that may be something that you put in your memory bank of bring in hard items to show.
Yeah, I would love to see what turned out here, actually.
So yes, I don't think many of our trustees have seen a tick and how it works, and that may be a good fun exercise. But at this point in time, I think we beat up 6. Let's move on to new item business 7, which is a request from the fire department as to turnout gear. Chief?
Okay, well, and again, I presented this beforehand. We can have some discussion on it, but this, I had spoke with the committee before. I'm not quite sure that the entire board about buying from, it's called Tech Gen turnout gear. The difference between that and regular structural gear actually is the liner or barrier that is inside to keep the heat from you. The idea of this gear is to act as a cheaper secondary set of gear that the firemen can wear. They can wear this to any call except a structure fire. If you're not aware right now, most all of the full-time do have 2 sets of full turnout gear. The second set being the older, more warm. And the idea behind that is because when we do get fires, often what they're forced to do under new standards are come back and clean that gear thoroughly. And then that gear is out of service for a while. This is presented as a cost savings, I would hope, where we purchase this gear, and that would be what they would wear to your automobile accidents, medical calls. It is authorized to wear in brush or wildland fires. It's actually a thicker barrier than the stuff we have now for wildland fires. But a number of calls. The only thing they would not be allowed to wear this turnout gear to would be a fully involved structure fire. They'd have to wear their traditional. And the hope there is to prolong the life of the traditional turnout gear, whereas they can wear this lighter, more pliable gear and much cheaper to extend the life of their turnouts. But this quote, actually, there are two models. There's the TG71 and the TG50. The TG1 is more conducive to adding a liner if you do want to make it into traditional turnout gear. And they call that's where you see that term, interceptor package. There's one set of that on that quote, and that is, don't get me wrong, that's for myself, because I am without a new set of turnout gear now. The turnout gear I wear into the fires, I'm going to date myself here, but it's Brad McRobert's old gear, which means it's well past its shelf life. So there'd be one set of the traditional that I could use as the barrier, and then there are 6 of the thinner tech gens that they can wear to alternate calls. Did I make that clear as mother's milk, or?
Yeah, so you have 11166. So are the 3 ones the 3 first things for you? Like you have one Fire Decks custom turnout coat, and then you have one Fire Decks custom turnout pant, and one Tech Gen.
Yeah, think of the first 2 items as a regular set of structural turnout gear.
But that would be for you.
That would be
Because you don't have
for me, because mine is outdated right now. The other 6 that we have brand new was in the last order, and I had 2, but mine ended up getting passed on one of our fires. It failed about 2 or 3 months ago to pass inspection, and he's my size. Go ahead, Norm.
Is there any grant money available for turnout gear, and have we applied for it?
I did. I applied for a $5,000 grant through the state, and unfortunately was turned down because consequently the year before I actually had asked for the same thing, and they tend not to give you this. If you get a grant for turnout gear one cycle, they eschew doing it again on the 2nd and 3rd cycle. They look for something different. But
Is there only one place to go after grants?
No.
He's correct. There are a number of places.
So we went to one and got turned down, that was it?
Correct.
Okay. Could we apply for grants to some other places?
I could.
Is this grant money readily available to apply for a grant? I mean, or is it something that we're just wasting our time?
Well, no, actually, prior to the news I received tonight, I didn't have any compunction about requesting this because April, of course, was the new fiscal year, and there's set aside in the budget for full-time and part-time was $6,000 and $5,000 specifically for turnout gear. Now, as I understand what Supervisor Stibbe laid on us tonight, I could certainly foresee some discussion on this. So
There are at least 3 places in Alpena alone that you could apply for grants.
Well, I think that's, I think we can probably shorten that gap. Because this is, even though this doesn't have, this quote will be, obviously, it's only good for, this particular one's only good for 45 days. Is West Shore the only avenue of ascertaining said equipment?
He's the only one that carries that specific fabric, which is referred to as the Tech Gen.
Okay.
Right now.
So single source.
Single source.
At this point in time, would you be able to, if I'm going to be working on grants, Dave, let's get together and try to get somebody else's money to help the community?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, given the information you put out tonight with the budget shortfall, I wouldn't hesitate at all to, if you want to say table this or hold it till.
We'll pull this from.
So that I can explore some, I wasn't aware of the
Yeah.
severe budget cuts coming ahead, and figured that was well within the range of the budget.
Yeah, and it would have been. Not saying that it's not, but I think we have to think outside the box wherever possible. If there's funds available through grants,
Yeah,
then
no,
we
I'd
gotta
be
think.
happy to look further on this.
I think the three of us can probably put our minds together and figure something out. Yes, Laura?
I just wanted to say too, when, I think when you did apply for that grant and you got it, a year or two ago, whenever that was.
Correct.
We approved X amount of sets to purchase, and then they made twice as many, so we ended up buying them.
Yeah.
So I mean, we did end up getting more than what we anticipated at that time too. We got double the turnout gear than what we initially planned on, but remember the order got doubled?
Yes.
Yeah. And now all that turnout gear is still in service.
Yes.
Here's a point of clarification, since we're talking about turnout gear, and one that's always kind of made me think. With turnout gear that is still functioning, if somebody is no longer of service or retires, or what happens with the turnout gear, full officer, part-time, they turn it back into the township. That is not property of any individual, that is property of the township.
Correct.
So any of, say in the past 4 years, anybody that's left the department has turned in all their gear.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Well, I think at this point in time, we don't need to kill a dead horse. I would, yes.
I just want to ask one more, just because I'm curious about it. So if they all have, or whatever, so many of the firemen have 2 sets of turnout gear, and you said if they go out and then they have to have a set go get cleaned, who cleans it and how long does it take to get that back before they
Right.
have 2 sets?
Right now, what we do is the washer and drying machines that are over on our side of the
Oh,
building.
okay.
Those are primarily what that's used for.
Okay.
The liners are removable from our bunker gear, which are fit, kind of like a snowmobile suit. Those have snaps and Velcro. What the guys have to do is strip those liners out of the coat and the jacket, take the suspenders off. Then just the outer shell goes into the washing machine, and we do have a special, you guys probably don't pay attention when the bills come across, but we have purchased a special detergent that is recommended and used for turnout gear to get those carcinogens and smoke particles and stuff out that we know. Then we do not put the turnout gear in the drying machine, they air dry. And
I
that's
didn't know
why-
if we sent them to a dry cleaner or if we
No.
did them in, I didn't know how. we-
In-house.
I make a motion that we table item number 7, turnout gear, and pursue other grant opportunities.
We have a motion on the table to pursue grant opportunities in terms of the potential expenditure of $6,900. Is there support?
I'll support.
I'll support that.
We got a plethora.
You said it first.
Clerk Palovich beat you two gentlemen to the punch, with or without delay of modern technology.
It's okay.
So no, we don't need a roll call. All those in favor of moving forward with opportunities, and we can revisit this purchase at a subsequent meeting, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, the same. Motion passed. Steve, send Dave and I an email. Let's get some thoughts going together, and we can move forward with that.
Okay.
Thank you. Moving forward to the last item of new business, which is an RFP for a pumper engine. Steve.
Yeah, this is rather short and sweet, but I'd like the board to understand that, again, I've been throwing out the NFPA all night. All truck pumpers water tenders, et cetera, are made to NFPA standards and guidelines now. That's why this isn't a book volume 6. Basically, if you guys have read through it, I just gave them a brief synopsis of our department so they can get a flavor to operate in under the project. I just gave them some basic dimensions for the truck to ensure that any new truck we purchase wouldn't fit in our fire department. We're limited by everybody knows they just don't build trucks like they did back in the 50s and 60s when the building was put up. So it's hard to find stock trucks now that will actually fit in our doors. So that is the parameters I gave them, with the exception of a minimum size water tank, because we do both rural and urban, and we prefer the top mount panel and a 4-person cab, so that this truck would be identical to the that we have down at Station 2. And then there was the submissions for the sealed bids, a brief evaluation period, and I gave them the total cost of the project for going to exceed the 565 that we discussed in the committee meetings. I did ask Michelle to peruse this, and I had to make a couple little corrections to it, but that's just the final draft of it.
So this has not been sent out to people yet?
No, well, you have to have, but
Right.
Trustee Foley.
I'm sorry.
This is a proposal for a quote. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Sealed bid quote, that my assumption is then on posted dates, the board would, or representatives of the board would open at a public meeting. That for our new, well, actually, for old policies, but.
So is this a $400,000, $500,000 vehicle, roughly? So just throw a number at me.
What we put on here was cost not to exceed $565,000, which is what we projected at the committee meeting, would be our final available funding for revenue.
Okay, then how much money is left potential for tax money coming in on this?
The equipment.
equipment millage?
Equipment millage.
Isn't that what we figured at the?
So yes, so what we've seen, and Trustee Lappin, Clerk Palovich, and myself, we were given this, well, a couple months prior to the COVID issue, and looked at numerous scenarios. One, our average annual collection, I believe, on the equipment millage is right around $225,000 that we collect on an annual basis. So they will actually, with 3 years remaining on the sunset millage, be able probably right in the ballpark of $675,000 collected. So this is in the parameters. Captain Piper worked diligently. I will commend him for the work he did. The reality is we had to go through an RFP to follow our policy and procedure manual and statutory in expenditures of this millage money. So here's the opportunity for us as a board to approve, to move forward with an RFP to manufacturers and say, these are the parameters, these are your guidelines, send us what you got by 2 p.m. June 3rd. And then it will come to our next meeting, and then we pick out of that sealed bid.
But also, since we don't have the money, we know it's on the IFCOM, it's coming supposedly by the millage. So this would be something like the ambulances then? We'd have to go get a loan to pay for it and then pay it off?
So, and I can address this because they're in, and Michelle, correct me if I say anything out of sorts. We had a gentleman come to the fire committee. He is an operator. Actually, we bought equipment from him in the past as a municipality.
Yeah.
They work hand in hand with is basically an in-house financing, even though it's a separate company. What we learned, because that was part of my fear, I'm always hesitant to expend money that we don't have in hand. What we learned in this process is when we get an RFP back with these quotes and we make a decision, it will be 1 year from the time we contact that company and say, you are the winning bid, this is what we want you to make us. That will be 1 year. And then 1 year from that, that's where we start looking in financing options. The company that presented to us as a board, kind of after, in hindsight, left us with some more questions than because we thought his presentation afforded us 1 year out, we get the piece of equipment. If we went through financing with that company, at that point in time, it would be 1 year after that. So 2 years down the road, we'd make our first payment. And then that's when
That's how it was first presented.
that's how it was first presented, and Trustee Lapp and you sat, and we ended up having a lot of questions at that point.
Right.
So the reality is, on June 9th, we're going to have our RFPs back, and we will actually look at financing options at that point in time, because we didn't walk away from that committee meeting with anything set in stone by any means.
No.
So, yes, Laura.
Well, first it says on here, sealed bids must be by 2 o'clock on June 3rd, which is a little more than a week away, which in my opinion doesn't give very many places the opportunity to really put together a good quote or bid for us.
Well, how many manufacturers meet these? There's only a limited.
Okay, and then
group,
my other thought is, the money concerns me just because, you know, of course they have to make this. Why don't we go a year, save that money up in the bank? I mean, we're spending money before we're collecting this money. That's what concerns me on it. I mean,
And duly
because we
noted.
are, I mean,
Duly
first
noted.
year they're gonna make it, the second year we're gonna do financing, at third year, we have to make a payment. I mean, this is a lot of money that, that concerns me.
And
I
right
don't-
now, this isn't a motion to make a purchase. This is a motion to get quotes.
I understand that, I just,
So we can shoot that to high heaven when the time comes, but at this point in time, let's get an RFP out there, because that is the logical next step. I also share that concern, but these are tax millage monies that really, unless we have a max exodus, we lose tax base. Those are about as secure of funds as we actually have in our budget, is millage monies. Our operating millage, 1.0136 mils. The town, or the fire department's operating 1.5, and then the 5-year 0.65 mil or equipment millage are about the only funds that, if you could ever put the adjective secured on, are about as secured of funds as that we will see for the next period of time. That being said, it doesn't, I'm by no means belittling your concern.
oh, I know.
This is
I
just,
totally understand it. I'm just saying, I guess, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, I'd rather see this happen in a year.
Well, let's get the quote, see what happens.
yeah, let's get a quote. And then we can, I mean, because,
But isn't our fire engine, it's on its last leg, it might not make it
that's why we're,
another, that, if we waited a year, it's another year out, so it'd be 2 years from now before we even get it, a fire engine.
Not to be overly dramatic, I will let the board know that we've lost 2 more pieces of diamond plating and or equipment off engine 1 since board meeting. So
it's literally falling apart.
From
Hey, Chief, I got a question. I'm going to go back on Laura's comment. Is it realistic to get a full-blown RFP from anybody within literally 2 or 3 days.
How many working days? June
Yeah, well,
3rd.
I think for, yes and no, for the manufacturers we've worked with in the past and that are aware we are looking, and not to speak for Captain Piper, but I'm pretty sure he let them know that an RFP was forthcoming.
Does he know who it's going to go to?
Excuse me?
How does he know who the RFP is going to go to?
Well, we know three of the manufacturers right now, but it certainly can go out to other ones. And again, good point, if the board would like to take a suggestion and we maybe would modify the date and give them, actually, yeah, given the what's going on with COVID and the shutdown, maybe perhaps giving them another month or two to get the RFPs in and give them a fair amount of time to work on them. I have no problem with pushing the date back. That's the board.
I personally would feel a little more comfortable with that because I don't want to be giving up opportunity just to be expeditious about something.
Yeah.
I think a month or 2 is too long. I mean,
Well, I mean, not this meeting, but the next meeting.
Yeah,
Right.
so I think I have a solution that could probably just behoove this and we can move forward. Our next meeting is June 22nd. We have the agenda together, or should typically have the agenda together and published by the 17th. So should we say, if we stretch that out an additional 2 weeks?
What you're saying is we're not going to have a meeting the second Tuesday,
the 9th.
the ninth.
Yeah, we're gonna,
Oh, okay.
but
So
the
you're-
third, that's all still only three
Right.
working days. So I'm
You
saying,
said our next meeting is.
oh, I'm sorry, I
Yeah,
meant, because I got a lot of sun. I meant the second primary meeting in June is what
To
I meant.
answer your question, yes.
Okay, I appreciate that, Steve. So then, let's modify the RFP before it is sent out to extend. Would you like to have that on the 17th at 2 p.m.? That way we can,
Is that the day before I'm getting the agenda out?
that would, well, that's the Wednesday.
Here.
Do you want to do it the 16th, the day before?
Why don't we do it Wednesday or Tuesday the 16th?
So Tuesday, the 16th, in terms of submissions in the packet that you have before you, the request for proposal, submissions will also read, sealed bids must be made by 2 p.m., June 16th, 2020.
Yep, to be opened on the 19th or the 22nd.
Yeah.
So we're not going to open them until the board meeting?
But, well, if we complete the sentence,
Well,
That's right.
I mean, typically we open sealed bids and bring them to the meeting.
that's
because-
fine.
I mean, they'll still come to the board.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Yeah. So, okay, well then that other language will remain as is in terms of direct to the clerk's office, because that is how we've always performed sealed bids. And then all bids will come to the board subsequent.
Yep.
So,
Okay, I will make the corrections and.
So are we going to advertise this in the newspaper and on the website?
the website, most definitely. Do you think that it would make sense to advertise in the Alpena News, or would it make more sense to advertise in some of the publications that are strictly fire department related, that we're already memberships with? I mean,
That might be cheaper.
that would be cheaper.
The Alpena News is. quite-
That's just my thought.
I like that suggestion, like Michigan Chiefs Association and.
You have resources that are very site specific. Norman?
I'm sure, Chief, that your knowledge and whatever, you probably know just about every fire truck manufacturer there is, so we got a good handle on them. Anyway, reputable ones, you're sure I'm gonna be dealing with some slouches, so.
So with the corrections presented and changed in terms of the date of June 3rd to June 16th, do we have a motion to move forward with the RFP for the pumper tanker?
So moved.
We have a motion on the table by trustee Lappin. Do we have support?
Support.
Support by trustee Polly. Further discussion? Seeing and hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Lappin,
Yes.
Clerk Palovich, yes. Treasurer Ellery Summers,
Yes.
Trustee Kroll,
Yeah.
Trustee Dunkel,
Yes.
Trustee Polly,
Yes.
Supervisor Skibby.
Yes. That concludes all new business, Chief. Thank you very much. We'll all be in touch as we move towards our next meeting. I will get you your department report. One of us can print that off for you easy enough in terms of where we are today. And
Can I
then we
make a
can.
suggestion?
Yes, Laura.
Could you please put this on our letter, just so it looks more formal?
Absolutely.
You know, I just think it looks better on our letterhead.
With our logo and everything.
Right.
And if you could get me a copy when you're done, and then I'll get it again and put on the.
And actually, to put a little icing on that sweet cake, please get our fire department logo electronically to them, because then we can put it on a dual letterhead. Can have the fire department and the charter township, or one or the other. One or the other. We'll make it look as professional as possible.
Yeah,
Yes, by all means, Chief.
Okay, I'll try to be quick, but, I understand from the prior meeting and the recommendation I made that there has been a deal of fallout with some of the firefighters that don't understand the issue. And in way of explanation, because of the COVID restrictions, we have not had a full department meeting where I could just broadcast to everyone that took place. And what I would like to do is, Norm, I understand you received some, I was distracted via some pure phone calls, and I would like to apologize to you on my behalf of the department that I also applaud your response to the fire and any other of the board members that have been approached about that subject. Please direct them back to me, as Norm did, and I will try to explain it to them so that the parade or employee is illuminated. And again, my apologies if any of the board members have been questioned or it's been suggested that there's some dirty dealings going on. So
It was not a problem. We had just good discussion.
okay, very good, very good. I just wanted to, I felt maybe the opposite had happened. And,
No, and it was, I put the discussion back to you.
okay, and that person did come to me. Oh, I'm not sure that he still completely understands, but you know,
Well,
please.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much, Chief. We'll be in close contact, and we can get some ideas that's available and move forward on that note as well.
Very good.
Thank you. Yep, thank you. At this point in time in the agenda, this is an opportunity for public comment. We actually do have public comment from Mr. Reinhardt, and he asks, and I'm going to actually have to stand up because my eyes aren't as good as they used to be. In regard to the reduction of budget, is there any likelihood that the township will or could receive any of the federal funds still being distributed under the CARES Act? To answer your question, Mr. Reinhardt, I believe some money was brought forward that was through the CARES Act.
Stimulus money for the fire department.
Yeah, so we are able to ascertain, was that 12,000 and change?
13,000, yeah.
Roughly, let's say $12,500, the rough number, that was ascertained through the stimulus aspect of the CARES Act. I am trying to find any leverage of funds available through the CARES Act, and striking out just about at every turn. Does that mean that I am done trying to find any available funds? By no means. So that is always on the horizon. I gotta zoom out so we can all not be right on my forehead.
The amount was 12,801.76 that we got.
Thank you very much for the clarification. 12,801.76 was brought forward through those funds to the fire department, just to public safety. Operational funds, as always, especially through any grants or federal funds, have been made available anytime you have the contingency of administrative costs associated with it. That is usually a stroke of black and death to any acquired funds. But nonetheless, diligently making calls to our legislatures and looking for any available monies as we need to. And that's, I hope, as you heard through this, we're also trying to utilize any grant monies available as we start to embark on what is forecasted as very fiscally lean times. Mr. Reinhardt, do you have any subsequent questions? Or if you're still on the line, by all means, you can unmute and speak freely.
No, that was all I had. I just, I know other governmental units are seeking funds still. For example, and it won't be 300,000, I'm sure, for the township, but I know there's hope that there's money coming available for just the time, such as yourself and others have spent, including myself, on COVID-19 issues. I think you and I were attending those weekly meetings, and others from the township probably were, and then of course I get, as you probably do as well, inundated with emails, executive orders, and all sorts of things on a weekly basis, actually on a daily basis, from Mark Hall and from others. So, and from the health department, et cetera, et cetera. So, you know, there apparently is still monies left to look for, and obviously the airport had a big benefit. I'm not aware that any local governments are going to get as big a benefit as that, but to be able to show how much this has cost the township in its operations, in its loss of funding, in its and hopefully one of the legislative assistants to some of the legislators, or the U.S. senators, be helpful in pointing you in the right direction, perhaps.
Yes, Mr. Keller's been extremely helpful through trying to ascertain any available funds through Senator Peters' office. Yes, we've all been dealing with the new normal. You and I and Trustee Foley and Laura and Michelle at an accelerated rate with daily executive orders. If you would have asked me a month ago if we would have surpassed the 100 executive order mark, I would have said by absolutely no means. And I think as it stands today, we're at 103. So I got my finger on as many pulses for available funds as possible, and I hope that my efforts eventually pay off. I want nothing but the best for our municipality and the people we serve. So doing everything I can, sir. And Mr. Reinhardt, would you please state your address for the record?
Sure, that's 315 Parr Drive.
I knew that.
We knew it. I just had to ask. I could have asked you your IP address, but I think that may be a unique question to be asking.
I can give you my PIN number, but most people wouldn't know what that is.
I appreciate your comments, sir. Are there any other people online that have public comment? Bruce or Stephanie, do you have any questions or comments?
All good.
Negative.
Hello?
Hello, Stephanie.
Hi, can you hear me? Hi. I wanted to know if maybe I could, I don't know, call you after rather than just hold up the meeting, unless you all are okay with me just asking my questions now. I just wanted to clarify a couple of things so I can put the story together for tonight.
As I did last meeting, I'll make myself available. So
Okay,
if you would like to, if you call me on my cell number 15 minutes from now, I will make clarification to any of your points.
That sounds good. And I don't have your number. Can you just give it to me really quickly?
Oh, area code 989-464-0029.
Thank you so much. I'll go ahead and disconnect at this point.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
It's on Geronimo Road.
Thank you.
Are there any other people attending online or by telephone that have public comment? Hearing none, we'll move forward. Is there any other discussion of the board? Anybody online or by telephone that has any additional discussion? Hearing none, anybody present? I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion on the table to adjourn. Is there support?
Support.
Supported by trustee Lappin. Any further discussion? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right.
Opposed, the same. Meeting adjourned at 7:53. Thank you very much.